Hello people, it's your host man, back again with another video. This time it's Manchester United v Wolves in the FA Cup at Old Trafford under the lights. Do we really care? It's a bloody replay. For me personally, it's just another game that we don't really need given the amount of injuries we've currently got. Nevertheless, obviously FA Cup is a prestigious trophy. It's got a great history. Of course, we want to overtake Arsenal when it comes to the most FA Cups. But we got to prioritise the league for me personally and the Europa League. I know that sounds crazy, but it just makes sense for me. Like, end of the day, the FA Cup doesn't mean anything to me anymore because it doesn't really have any benefit apart from winning the silverware itself. Yes, for Ollie, it would be very good because he hasn't actually got a proper trophy. I know he's won the league in Norway if I'm not mistaken, but this would be a prestigious trophy like I said for him. But for me personally, I would probably play a weakened team. I know that's not going to happen. Nevertheless, we'll have to see what happens and we'll have to see what Ollie does. But first and foremost, just want to say, going into the game, what I do think is important is momentum. Going into that Liverpool game, we don't want to be on the back of another disappointing result midweek. Obviously, we had the one against Man City last week, and we don't want another one with Wolves going into that important game against Liverpool. Yes, Liverpool have practically won the league, but nevertheless, we want to stop them from going unbeaten. This is the only opportunity that we can have all season, so we've got to try and grasp it with both hands. It's going to be a difficult thing to do, but let's go to the Wolves game. First and foremost, of course, they have got threats all over the pitch. They've been causing us problems. Jairo Martinho, for me personally, is the man that just pulls the string. He is the maestro. He's an absolute flipping tank. Very underrated player for me personally. Yes, he's an international for Portugal and he's massively touted around the world, but I just don't think he gets the credit that he deserves in the Premier League. I just don't think enough people actually mention his name, but the man next to him, of course, Neves scored against us. I think it might have been at Old Trafford when he scored from the edge of box, finessing into the top bins. These guys are always turning up against us. I'm not really sure what the issue is with Man United, but for me personally, it's going to be a really difficult game. In particular, the midfield. In front of them, they're going to have Jota. I just don't know how our midfield's going to cope with them. I've got to be honest with you. With the injuries we've currently got, if Scott McTominay was fit, I would have been very confident going into this game. But because he's not, Matic isn't going to be able to keep up with the game. Obviously, he had a game on the weekend against Norwich. Is that going to be one game too many? And I'm assuming he's going to be playing against Liverpool as well. So it'll be interesting to see what Ollie does with the midfield in particular, because that's where we are unbelievably light. Even when all of our players are fit in the midfield, you would argue our midfield's not that good anyways. Of course, they've got other threats such as Adama Traore. Again, the guy is lightning quick. Williams had, I think it was Williams actually, who had a tough time against him in the first game. But yeah, it should be interesting to see how that one pans out. We're going to have to double up on Traore. Let's make no mistake about it. The guy's lightning quick. So whoever's playing on the left side, if it's Matic, it's going to be an issue. It is normally Matic who plays left central defensive mid, not Fred. So it'll be interesting to see how we go about doubling up on him. I would assume Rashford's going to be playing, so Rashford's going to have to do a lot of work trying to help out the left back, whoever it may be. And yeah, so they're the main threats. Obviously, Jimenez is a quality player as well. But we've got to look at the threats that we've got in our team as well. We've got quality players, in particular in the final third. We saw against Norwich, yes, a very weakened team, a very weak team going to get relegated. But nevertheless, our front three, if they get the supply, they are dangerous. Rashford's been in fine form, 19 goals for him this season. Fantastic start to his campaign, ending the season on high, starting the season where he left off basically. So fair play to Rashford. I've been very critical of him, but he's starting to show the ability that he's got, and hopefully he can stay consistent. Also Martial again. Martial leads a couple of decent performances. He's actually been quite good in terms of goal return of late, but his overall sort of performance for me have been fantastic. I don't think he gets enough praise as well. Another player who's only judged in particular by the sort of rival fans and the pundits on his goal return. I don't think he's actually judged for his hold-up play and his ability to actually be a number 9. He doesn't really get the credit he deserves. For me personally, I think he's been fantastic, and you've seen without him in the team the difference it makes. So what I'm going to do my team lineup. Feel free to let me know what you guys think. So basically pretty straightforward. In net, Romero, an absolute no-brainer. Right back for me, I'm going to go for Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof and Maguire. You know, I'm not sure if Bailly's fit. I don't think this is a game to throw Bailly in, to be fair. Although I absolutely love Bailly, he's a bit reckless, so God knows what would happen. Left back has to be Williams for me. He's only 19, if I'm not mistaken, or is he 18? Either way, he's very young. He can easily play 3 games in a week. So I don't want to hear this resting excuse. He's a young lad, so for me, he has to play. He was the difference against Norwich in certain parts. He was fantastic going forward. And Luke Shaw, for me personally, he doesn't deserve his spot. To be quite frankly honest with you, he has to do more for me. And at the end of the day, he's just coasting games, and that's not good enough. He's got a competition now. He's got to step up his game. Otherwise, he's got to make that bench his own, innit? At the end of the day. Anyways, that's the back four. I wouldn't change that. I wouldn't change that part from Romero, of course. Bring him in the middle of the part. It's gonna have to be Matic. Although, if you have been following me for a while, you know I'm not a fan of Matic at all. He's too slow. You know, a quality player in his heyday, but now for me, basically too slow. But what are the options have we got? Flipping Edward doesn't want to sign a DM, absolute twat. So it's gonna have to be Matic, Fred, and probably Pereira. I suppose you could make a case for Mata playing over Pereira, given the fact that he had a good game against Norwich. I've got a feeling you might just play Mata and Pereira again, because they did actually do really well against Norwich, but we'll have to wait and see. For me personally, I'd probably go Matic, Pereira, and Fred just for leg's sake. Obviously, Matas hasn't got the legs, but of course he's got the creativity. I think this is going to be an end-to-end game. I don't think Wolves is going to be sitting back. I'd be very much surprised, especially with the midfield that they've got. They tend to be quite good on the ball as well. So on the right, I think Daniel James is going to play based off his social media. It does seem like he's going to be starting. I would have personally started Greenwood, but that's just me. I would have went Greenwood, Martial, and Rashford, but I think he's going to go James, Martial, and Rashford. I suppose I wouldn't be opposed to that, but I just think Greenwood has that ability to score from anything. He's shown time and time again the amount of goals that he scored out of nothing, basically getting the ball out of his feet and shooting, shoot on sight, basically. I think that's the kind of thing that we need up front. But that's just my personal opinion. What do you guys think? Would you go for James? Would you go for Greenwood? What would you change in my team, if anything? Let me know. Regarding the game itself, like I said, we all know everything there is to know about Wolves, because obviously they've been causing us problems. They're basically a bogey team at the moment. Yeah, for me personally, it's going to be an interesting battle in the middle of the park. I think that's where the game is going to be won or lost, as every game is. But in particular with Matic, how he's going to cope with their sort of players like Jota, who's a very smart player. He likes to find those pockets of spaces in the number 10 and link up with Jimenez. I think that's going to be the sort of issue. We can keep Jota quiet and we can keep Adama Traore quiet. I'm confident, but again, that's a massive if. You know, we gotta be clever. We gotta double up on him. Let's make no mistake about it. The guy's lightning quick. Yeah. So for me personally, I actually think this might actually go into penalties. I'm gonna say 1-1 draw, and I'm gonna say Manchester United win on penalties, because Romero is actually good on penalties. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you actually care about the FA Cup. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new. Your score predictions and team selection. Anyway, peace.